In this video, I'm going to talk about book cover cliches and why using book cover cliches can actually help sell more books. And it gets kind of interesting because most authors will tell you, or a lot of self-publishing gurus, they will be really wary about using book cover cliches. So they'll say you don't want to use stock photography, you don't want to have a cliched cover, you want to make something new and original. All of that's pretty bad advice, and I'm going to tell you why. It's actually a picture. Somebody else, I think, put this picture together, calling it book cover cliches about Africa or something. And I used it when I was dealing with a client who wanted an Africa-themed novel cover. And I said, hey, this is kind of what people are using. Is this the style that you like? And he said, but that's just a bunch of book cover cliches. I want something different. This is why book cover cliches work. You only have one chance to immediately communicate the theme or the setting and the genre of your novel in one picture. That's what the book cover has to do. So you do that with the setting, with the colors. This is basically like what every Westerner thinks of when they think of Africa. They think of a big sunset, maybe lions, often they like one of these trees or red sky. So on the one hand, yes, it's kind of too bad that Westerners have this cliched view of a foreign country, many foreign countries on a foreign continent. Anyway, there's definitely a stereotype about Africa, and it's not great that we're reproducing the cultural stereotype that Westerners come to expect. On the other hand, it's not your responsibility on your book cover to challenge and redefine everybody's common sensibilities or ideology about Africa. Like when you say Africa, what shows up in their head? It's probably going to be something like this. Your job isn't to educate them differently on your book cover. All you can do is tune into and connect with those pre-existing ideologies or expectations or stereotypes that are already in their heads so that they immediately know where to place your novel. If you can get them to place your novel as not an African-themed novel adventure or something like that, that's a win. That's what you want the book cover to do. So if you're deliberately avoiding the book cover cliches by doing something that doesn't look like Africa at all, that's going to be a big problem because you've lost, like your cover has failed to do its one job, and you won't get people to read the description where in the description you actually say, this is an African novel. It's too late because they never got to the description because your cover wasn't clear and obvious enough. That's a danger of avoiding cliches. You don't want something that's exactly a ripoff or a copy of another cover, but you do want it to fit in and look like other covers in your genre, especially the other best-selling covers in your genre. So here's some more. These are from other people's websites where they talk about, oh, it's too bad that book covers are all cliched and there's no art in book cover anymore. Somebody posted in one of my Facebook groups recently and they said, we're creative authors, we're artists, our book covers should be just as creative as the book. And that's total BS. That's not how book covers actually work. Yes, that would be great in an ideal world. Like on a conceptual level, that makes sense. But that's not how covers actually work. And if you fall into that ideology of wanting your cover to be artistic and creative, you're going to be losing sales. So I have to combat this argument that other people are making that you should avoid. I want to say stock photography, but some people say you want to avoid stock photography altogether. I don't agree because I think stock photography usually sells if it's done well. But I also don't agree that you should avoid having a trope-heavy or genre-heavy book cover. So they were saying, for example, these books look similar because they use the same colors, they use the same fonts, they have a guy, a silhouette. But these are all also obviously thrillers. These are all kind of obviously historical, possibly memoirs or chick lit. That's something you can see by just glancing at these covers. You see what they have in common. You want your cover to fit in, not stand out. This is one that actually stands out. This is the one that doesn't really fit in with the others because it's illustrated, which is one of the reasons I don't recommend an illustrated cover. It'd be much safer to go with something like this that's very simple. It has one figure, clean text. This is one, a lot of fantasy, a lot of famous best-selling fantasy. It has a guy in a hood in a forest. That's a really easy thing to do with a book cover if you are trying to tap into the same market. Here are some covers that I've done, some of my own covers. When I started publishing fiction last year, this was kind of my theme board. So these were other best-selling paranormal romance, young adult fantasy books that had audiences I wanted to share. So I wanted something that looked kind of like this. These were the ones that I came up with when I first started publishing. These were both fine. This one actually, everybody really likes this cover. It performs really well. I'm now making about $4,000 a month from these two novels, and so when I finish like 8 more novels this year, I'm hoping that my income goes up quite a bit. But I wanted to be doing better, so I redid this one to this one. This is like a even more cliched. It's a kind of cover like, it looks a lot like the Fallen cover. It's a kind of cover that people might look at it and think that they recognize it because it looks so similar to other best-selling books that they've already read. So on the one hand, yeah, it's overdone. On the other hand, it's pretty and it converts really well because it really attracts readers of that genre. This one's actually not performing as well. People liked this cover more than this cover, and there are reasons for that. I think probably I'll test one that doesn't have purple. The original cover was all blue with pink. I think if I switch these colors to match this, because it's a mermaid book, most mermaid books are blue. So in this instance, by trying to do purple, I may have gotten myself too far away from what other stereotypically mermaid books look like, and that could be a mistake. So there's also, I mean, the reason that these are selling differently is also just because of the demand. There's less demand for mermaids and there's demand for dark fantasy romance based on Greek mythology. When I publish some vampire books, those are going to sell a lot better irregardless of the cover. Irregardless? I don't remember if that's a word or not. Anyway, but like the cover is super important, but it also depends a lot on the demand. So you want to have covers that fit in. You want to be revising and tweaking them. The nice thing about self-publishing is I can just throw up a new cover on any time and see if it boosts sales. So you want to get some variations, and you want to make sure you don't just commit to a cover because you like it. Because what most people will do is they'll just make a cover and they'll stick with it, and they'll just keep spending more and more money on advertising and promotion when actually it's the cover that's killing their sales. And that's really the thing that they need to fix. In the next video, I'm going to talk a little more about the cover design process and where to find art. Thanks.